Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. It's France versus Croatia. It's the World Cup final. And I can't believe we're at this stage. I can't believe we are here. When we set out on this journey together, we said we were going to try and do every single World Cup game as a watch-along. And we've achieved it. We've done every single one. So thanks to everyone who's joined us. Even if you're new today, thanks for joining us. But every single World Cup game fixture, we've done it as a watch-along. And it's over. I'm very sad. I'm very sad the sun is shining in the UK. I think about these last 4 weeks. All 32 teams there at the start. Now we're down to 2. It's always sad at the end of a World Cup. But that shows you it's been a good one. I'm going to talk in a few minutes about whether I think it's the best World Cup of my lifetime. Got an interesting theory on that. But no, very excited for this final. It's been a good tournament. It has to come to an end at some point. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think France have to be the favourites, of course. I'm a Manchester United fan, so Paul Pogba is the only hope of a Manchester United having a World Cup winner next season. So obviously, I want Paul Pogba to do it. But to be honest with you, take Pogba out the equation and I'd be firmly behind Croatia because they're the underdog. So yes, I've got that Pogba connection, but also I would want Croatia to win. So it's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those for me. But let us know what you think in the bottom. I mean, Croatia, they've only got a population of about 4 or 5 million, haven't they? So it'd be an amazing achievement for them to do it. As you can see, the team news is going on the bottom of the screen. And PS4 says, come on, Pogba, prove the haters wrong. There is an opportunity for us to do that. If you are watching live, please do drop a like on the video. King Z says, why is there so many dislikes? I haven't got a clue these days, King Z. I really don't know where the hate comes from. God knows. Could be Liverpool fans. God knows who drives it. But please do drop a like and support the channel. Of course, the channel doesn't end here. We do all transfer news. We're going to be doing watch-alongs next season. Champions League, Europa League, Serie A, Premier League. It doesn't stop, but the World Cup comes to an end, which is very sad. But the team news. Obviously, France, pretty much the same as you expect. Croatia, pretty much the same as you would expect. And why would that not? Why would that be? Why would there be surprises in a World Cup final? France have been very, very. I think France have only ever been in third, fourth gear. I don't think they've had a fantastic game in this tournament. They've just been good enough. Croatia, I think they have the best football in the groups, and I think throughout the knockout stage they've been very, very resilient. Very resilient. 2 games through on penalties, 1 in extra time, coming from behind against England as well. I mean, everyone says that miss by Harry Kane, the one where he was offside, but the save by Subasic, who's probably been the goalkeeper of the tournament for me. But France, very hard to break down. Lloris has been good at this World Cup. They've got 2 fullbacks who've stepped up. They've got Varane and Umtiti. They've been fantastic. You've got Pogba, Kante, Matuidi in front of that. And then you've got Griezmann, Mbappe and Giroud. Giroud probably the weakest point of the whole French team, but he gives them something that in a game like this could be really important against Lovren and Vida. He gives them that height and physicality up front. Mbappe's going to give them explosive pace. Griezmann's going to give them that guile. And then the midfield is just where it's going to be won and lost, isn't it? And I think Kante's work rate is going to be the key factor. I think Pogba's been very good in this tournament, but I was very surprised when I saw yesterday that nobody was talking about Kante as player of the tournament. I just think he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's been absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, BT Sport did lose Serie A, which is disappointing, but that's a conversation for another day. I think from a neutral point of view, actually, I know I'm not French. If you're French, you don't care how you win it, but I think everybody else, I'm not bothered who wins. I'd like to see Paul Pogba win it for France, of course I would. But we don't want early French goals because it will just kill the game off completely. We want to see quite an equal game. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm really tired, but I'll wake up for this one. I'd love Kante at United, says Spoon Dangler. What's your favourite goal of the World Cup, says Max Claydon. I still think it was Ronaldo's free kick against Spain, and I still think that Spain-Portugal was the best game of the tournament. But that brings me on to this. I'll get this out of the way very, very, very early. Is this the best World Cup there's ever been? And my answer is this. No, I don't think it is. I think it's a fantastic World Cup. And I'm not just saying this. I was thinking about it last night down the pub, and a few people were talking about it, and I said, you know what? The 2018 World Cup's been really good, but I think we want to believe it's the best World Cup because it's happening now. I still think 98 is the best. Well, Italia 90 was my best because of England, but I think the best World Cup footballing-wise across the tournament was 98. And I got in last night and I checked it on Wikipedia. And if you look at the group stage and you look at the knockout stages, there's loads more goals. There's much better games. I mean, you had England-Argentina in the first knockout game, which was amazing. Then you had Argentina-Holland straight after that, which was amazing. So many good games. So I think Croatia went to the semi-finals in that as well, funnily enough. And France are probably going to win this as well. So there are parallels 20 years later. But the group stage of 2018 was very good. I don't think the knockout stage has really lived up to it. In the knockout stage, what great game have we had? I don't think we've had a really good game in the knockout stages. So I think that 98 just fades it. But much better than Brazil, much better than 2010. So a very, very good World Cup, and it will rank highly. But for me, it's the 2008, it's the 1998 World Cup. But you know what? It'll probably be the best one a lot of you can remember, which is great. Brazil World Cup was rubbish, says Adam T. 2002 was okay, but again the knockout stage was a bit crap. And Germany were awful, and they made it to the final, didn't they? 98 was a very good World Cup. Brazil, Scotland opener. There was some really good football in that, and you had some bloody good teams. That French team was good. And I think that's also something I would say about this World Cup as well, is that I don't feel we've had a team that you go, they are brilliant. Even in the last World Cup, you went, Germany, they deserve to win it. What a team. And through previous World Cups, you go, what a team. 98, what that French team was brilliant. Oh yeah, had a little bit of luck along the way, but it was a great team. I don't think in this World Cup we've seen a team where we've gone, wow, they're great. And I think that's because we've had a lot of similarities and it's been a bit of a leveller. But for me, I think you can't have everything, can you? And I think that's made it a good World Cup in some ways. But I'll tell you what, if Croatia came out and won this World Cup, it could be the best World Cup ever. And I want to retain that back. If Croatia win this World Cup, it's probably the best World Cup ever because it will be known as the Underdog World Cup. And that is something that everybody will find very romantic. But if France win it, I think 98 was better. And I think the French people have already said that. I was reading something, coming up to speed with, I was going to say with my French, which is rubbish, but just clicking a button and doing Google Translate. And I saw a few articles about, if France win the World Cup, does it compare to 98? Well, it doesn't because they hosted it. But it's their first World Cup where they're not hosting it. But everyone in France is saying, it'd be a great achievement to win the World Cup, but the one in 98 was better. Let's have a look what some of you have got to say. Remember, subscribe if you're new. We're going to try and hit 44,000 subscribers today. So we need 140 odd. I think we can do it. It'd be nice to hit a round number for the end of the World Cup. It's been really, really great on That's Football, and I do thank every single one of you. 2006 World Cup, says Canal. It was okay. 98, just I think for me. Croatia, no changes, says Richard Paludi. Yeah, Brozovic and Matic and Rakitic. Sorry, not Makitic. Modric and Rakitic in the midfield three. Rebic, Perisic and Mandzukic. I'll just worry about Croatia. I think that front six is really good, and I think their goalkeeper's really good. I worry about their defence. I think you can get at their defence, and I worry about how tired they might be. That's what worries me a little bit about Croatia. Is this channel going to do the qualifiers? Fish 6798. You know what? I think we will. I think the from an English point of view, I think the appetite has been whetted a lot more in relation to international football. That I think when we have international games from now on, we'll certainly cover them because I think it's been great, the World Cup, and also I think that there's going to be a change in format, isn't there? We're going to see the in fact, BBC are just showing France 98 clips now. We're going to show. We're going to have the Nations Cup as well, aren't we now? 94, says Teddy Bashev. 94 was okay, but there was a few grinding out results there. If you think about it, Brazil ground it out a little bit. Italy ground it out a little bit. But they're showing clips of it on BBC at the moment, the France 98 World Cup. And Brazil were very good in that World Cup. I remember going down the pub to watch that in 98, and Ronaldo had a seizure, didn't he, just before the game. So Brazil were fantastic in that World Cup. France were fantastic in that World Cup. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Mark, are you going to do the Women's World Cup? Says Christopher White. I don't even know when it is. When is it? I don't know. A bit ignorant of me then, but I don't know. I watch on the BBC, Salim. I can't be doing with the adverts, and I much prefer it. And actually, as an England fan, I said this on Wednesday night that it should have been on. They should have put it on the BBC because ITV always let England down. The Nations League, says Lick Kalot. Yes, I don't know how it works. I'm sure we'll have a look. Got a 71 bet on France to destroy Croatia in the first half 3-0, says Matthew McFadden. It could be one of those finals, Matthew. It really could be one of those finals. I wouldn't be surprised at that. I forgot to put a bet on, but I would have put a bet on France. I think it's they're 100% going to be favourites for this final, and I don't agree with you. I don't disagree with anybody who's put their money on them. It will be France, surely, to win this. But you never know. You never know. I mean, Croatia have played 120 minutes in every one of their games in the last week and a half. I mean, that's very, very hard to do. Very hard to do. And France could really use that against them, couldn't they? Because France are a very, very physical side, aren't they? It's a battle in the midfield, says Yash Vora. Portugal is going to win the 2020 Euros for sure, says Diogo. And thoughts and Pavard to Bayern, says MK_11. Has he gone? I mean, yet again, that's how the German league works. They just scoop up all the talent within the German league. It's ridiculous. France 5, Croatia 0, says Richard Paludi. Give us your predictions. I'm going to go France 2-0. Modric has won his last 10 finals, says George Kyle. Well, Varane must have won quite a few as well. Please do share the video. Underneath there's a share button. Please do share it. Let's see if we can get a couple of thousand watching it. I'm probably a little bit hopeful there, but certainly want to try and get to 44,000 subscribers. That would be fantastic to do that on this final day of the World Cup, which has been superb. I've loved doing the watch-alongs. Absolutely loved it, and I hope all you lot have as well. It's been a real pleasure. So I hope you're all enjoying it, and I hope you have enjoyed it. I can't believe. A big shout out to Xander as well. Big shout out to all the live comments. To do every single World Cup game has been a real challenge that both me and Sander really wanted to achieve, and we even did the third and fourth game yesterday. So yeah, it's been great, and it's certainly whetted the appetite for the new season. I think we've pretty much gone from the end of last season, the Champions League final, straight into the World Cup. And I think some people feel, and I'm sure some footballers feel, yeah, we could do with a little bit of a break. But personally, can't wait. As a Manchester United fan, we've got the US tour next week. Then we've got the Premier League season starting. So, yeah, I'm really appetite whetted. Let's bring it on. But don't know how you feel. 1-0 to France, says Adam Smith. 2-1 to France, says Nick. 4-1 to France, says Paul Massey. And this final is similar to this year's Champions League, says Yash Vora. Yes, but do Croatia have a Salah? Then again, Liverpool didn't have him for long either, did they? Bum bum ch, ba-dum dum ch. Shout out to Mark and Xander for your hard work. It's been appreciated, says Luca. That's really appreciated. Thanks, Luca. And Tam Trainer says Wolves top 8 next season. I predicted it on this channel 6 months ago that Wolves will be in the top 8 this year. So I do totally agree with you. Can't wait for it. And who am I backing, says Giwi. I'm backing France because I'm a Manchester United fan and I want Pogba to be a World Cup winner. But if Pogba wasn't playing for France, I'd be backing Croatia. I'd want the underdog to win. So it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult. Canal says, I'm going to miss the watch-alongs. I wish this could continue forever. It's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. But we'll sort out more watch-alongs. We're going to try and do at least 2 a week next season. So we'll be picking, there's not always a big game in the Premier League. So we'll have to scout around Europe and have a look at different games in different leagues and things like that. France has lost 2 finals in which they have been favourites, says Shubham. I think that'll go in their favour, though. I mean, they lost the Euros to Portugal 2 years ago. I think that'll go in their favour. They've still got a lot of those players who were part of that team. I think they were overconfident in that game. I think Ronaldo going off injured probably boosted that confidence. So I think they'll be more than able and willing to come back into this game and do far, far better mentally as well. Yeah, definitely. So we're about 18 minutes away from kickoff. Not too long at all. Let me have a look. I watched every game with you guys, and it's made my World Cup experience so enjoyable. Watching Colombia with you was awesome, says Hugh. Yeah, we've had some high and lows, haven't we? The Croatia game was easily my favourite England game. My favourite World Cup game was Portugal-Spain. Thought it was fantastic. That first Friday feels a long time ago, but it was absolutely amazing. Really did enjoy that. Kay says the little girl says it's going to be 6-0 Croatia. But that would be special. That would be very, very special. But yeah, from an English point of view, I think that the Colombia game was amazing. I'm so glad as well that England came out of this tournament with the penalty voodoo lifted. I saw it in Euro '96 where we won a penalty shootout against the Spaniards and we won it, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we've got rid of that penalty curse." And then the very next game, we played Germany and we lost on penalties. So at least we've come out of this World Cup with the situation where we've won a penalty shootout and we don't have to. It's not such a burden for us now, and I think that's really important. So that's been good. I'm just sharing the video out. So Croatia. But I can't think of a better game than that Spain from a footballing point of view. 6-goal thriller, ends in a draw. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. And I think the only game in the knockout stage that's come close was France-Argentina. But I always felt that France had Argentina at arm's length. I never felt Argentina could get a result in that. I don't think France have really been pushed that hard. I think Belgium just fell away in that second half. And I tell you what, part of me really thinks this should be a Belgium-Croatia final. I do. I've got no issues with Croatia beating England. I am English. They totally deserve to win it. I think now the dust has settled with England. Before yesterday's game, they'd had the worst shots on target across the tournament, except for Iran, which is poor. I think England's system worked well, but in hindsight, they weren't the best footballing team. Croatia came from behind and beat them, so Croatia deserved to be in the final. I think Belgium just missed a big opportunity. I really do. I think they did, and Belgium-Croatia would have been a fantastic final. Belgium would have been the favourites, but France have always done enough throughout this tournament, and I think if they win the World Cup, which I expect them to do, I think they'll be known as the team that just did enough. I don't think Deschamps is that inspiring as a manager. I think you look at the squad, it's amazing. You look at the Belgium squad, it's amazing. I would expect Belgium to be semi-finalists. I would expect France to be finalists. So from that point of view, it's been a bit predictable. But is there one sting left in the tail of this World Cup? Have Croatia got enough energy in this final to make a game of it? And that's all I want. I want them to make a game of it. I don't think they can win it, but I want them to make a game of it. I don't want to see them getting beat 3-4-0. I want to see a proper game of football. I want to see Croatia's midfield giving it everything. They can't be that tired because they've got players like Kovacic, who I think is a fantastic midfielder. And he's not been used in the last couple of games. So, yeah, it's good. Chris Tech Tip says here, have a tenner mark. Thank you for the World Cup watch-alongs. Here's to a great final. Well, that's really what a nice tip that is from Chris Tech Tips. Really appreciate that, pal. Remember, if you want to make a contribution, it's the $ in the bottom of the live comments. But thanks for that, Chris. And it's been at times it's been very tiring. Of course it has. But I agree with that comment from Michael that the World Cup has been made so much more enjoyable by all of you getting involved. And I've seen snaps. I can see Matthew McFadden there, George Kyle. I think Brevi's been here, Andrew Southwick, Jared. I think Beck's been here as well. So all of the moderators as well deserve a big, massive shout out. They've been fantastic. But no, we've built a community and I want it to continue. The World Cup has been fantastic. In a couple of years' time, we've got the Euros. In 4 years' time, hopefully we'll be around to do another World Cup at bloody Christmas. But, let's keep building this community. There's going to be some big games next season. Champions League, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A. So I'm not going to mention the German League. I think it's a bit of a joke. And the French League. But if they ever got competitive, we'd cover them. What a journey, says Sushas. Every single game, we've enjoyed it. Do you think this World Cup could cost us Pogba, given his good form, says Darth Revan? I'd be a hypocrite if I said that that Pogba's going to leave because I think there's no chance of Paul Pogba leaving. But I also think that I wouldn't be surprised if Barcelona had a go if he wins the World Cup, because that's the only place he can go to, I think. But I don't think he'll be going. Thanks, King Zed. If Croatia play Mandzukic to do comprehend, they go to they go to long ball tactics, says Wira 619. I don't think they really play long ball with Mandzukic, to be fair to Croatia. I think what they do is they hit the ball up to him and they try to get him to hold it up, and then Perisic and Rebic bomb forward. I just hope Croatia turn up. I really do. I would hate to see Croatia get turned over and embarrassed, because France have got the players to do that. I mean, Giroud and Mbappe and Griezmann are real talents, and then their defence is so strong as well. I think if France didn't have such a good defence, they probably would have been tested a little bit more, but they've got such a strong defence. Deschamps builds this team on the sort of player he was. A little bit lame, really, a little bit bland, really about cutting out the opposition and working hard, and the way they drop everybody back and defend as a team, they're very, very, very hard to break down, and they want to hit on the break. That's what they want to do. France want to play deep and suck you in and then hurt you on the break. They want you to come at them. I'm a City fan, but United will have a good chance of winning the Premier League next season, and Liverpool need to be scared of both Manchester teams, says Lely. I like that positivity, because there's not a lot of it around the United fans at the moment. Thanks for all the gratitude, guys. Thanks to all the watchers who are the real stars of the watch-along, says George Kyle. Yep. If Modric wins the World Cup, should he be a contender for the Ballon d'Or, says Zed Jamie. It's a good point, and I would agree with you. I think that he should be, yeah. What would winning the World Cup mean for Pogba and United, if anything, says Roberto? I don't know. I mean, some players, they prefer the World Cup. They prefer playing for their national team. I think Pogba looks a lot happier playing for his national team than he does for Manchester United at the moment. I think, I'm more than happy to admit that at the moment. It's how Manchester United get him feeling happier at playing for Manchester United. But being a World Cup winner, hopefully it'll give him the confidence. But then again, he might feel he's achieved it. He doesn't have anything to prove. It's different people, different things. I would like to think that Pogba will just become more confident and more of a believer that he can run games, because that's what he needs to do. Certainly in a United shirt. Would you rather fail as United manager and all the fans hate you, or let Fellaini make a duo manager with Jose? Well, that's a silly question. Sometimes when you read something out, I wish I hadn't read that. BBC for me, James. Yeah, definitely BBC. And winning makes everyone happy, says Andrew Rossi. And Lahm, what a man, best fullback ever, says Cato and Fabinho apologist. I think that Germany have certainly missed those leaders this World Cup. I think that anyone would be happy being in a World Cup final, says Michael Hubbard. Do you think we can win the league if we don't sign a left back, says King's Ed? Well, it's a bit Manchester United specific, that, but yes, I think United need a left back 100%. Arsenal are better than nobody, George Watts. I wouldn't start coming in here. It's a bit like sticking your nose in a beehive. You're going to get stung. Mbappe will end up at Real Madrid, surely, says Tyrone Williams. Well, that's going to be something for us to keep an eye out over the next couple of weeks. The transfer fallout of Ronaldo going to Juventus and the World Cup being over. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Archie says your thoughts on Jose's latest comments. Be discussing them on the United stand tonight, Archie. And my prediction is 2-0. And Zushas says, will you miss the World Cup? You've got United watch-alongs back next week. I will miss the World Cup, but I think you, as a Manchester United fan, as an Arsenal fan, as a Chelsea fan, as a Liverpool fan, I mean, Liverpool and Arsenal, Liverpool have already had 3 pre-season games, so they're lucky. I wish United had. I'm ready for that. I like the fact that Liverpool have been playing teams like Tranmere and Bury. I think it's a really good idea, and I wish United had done that. But that starts for us next Friday, and the team go out to the American tour today. So today ends, and my, that's football. We'll still be covering all the transfer news and everything like that. But my core work is the United stand, and there is no break. You're straight into that. So I like that. I said that before the World Cup. Basically, the World Cup ends and you go straight into pre-season and then the season starts. So, yeah, I like that. And I will miss the World Cup. It's been fantastic. And I think there'll be times, Christmas, autumn, where I look back at this time that we shared and the sun's been shining here in the UK. And as England fans, we dared to dream for a little bit. And as a tournament, it's delivered. And I'll really miss it. And I think it's been I always said the World Cup's a bubble, a real bubble. Don't read too much into form. Don't read too much into the way whether your team should be buying somebody because of a World Cup. Just jump in the bubble of the World Cup and enjoy it. And I think we've all enjoyed it. And I will look back on it in a few months' time and go, that was a really great time. And I know at Christmas they normally put a compilation of the World Cup on, and I'll watch it back and I'll think, that was great. When it's cold and freezing and chucking it down with rain, I'll look back and I'll think what a sunny, happy time that was. But all good things must come to an end. And, I wouldn't say I'm happy it's coming to an end, but I can deal with it and I'll move on to whatever Manchester United can offer. Oh dear. I'd love it if we could have watch-alongs for the England games from September. We will do. We'll do that. Don't worry. And also, we won't just do England. If there's a good Nations Cup game, which is meant to be quite more competitive, and it's between two decent teams, we'll do it. We'll do it. What do you think of Pavard as a United signing to replace Jones, says Des Fafi? See, I'm not a massive fan of Pavard. I think he looks okay. But again, I think people are judging him on the World Cup. He plays for Stuttgart. I've not seen him play for Stuttgart, so I can't judge him on the World Cup. He's been okay. Good to see this referee get in the final. I think he's been good. The other one I quite liked, I can't remember what his name was, but there was one other I liked. So I'm quite happy with the referee that they've got. Should Messi play for Spain as a nationality, says Ryan Skibera. I think the only team he's good with is Barcelona. So maybe it'd be good for Spain. Lovren is playing, so that probably means they're going to win because they have got the best centre-back in the world playing. Flex isn't going to America, no. Christopher White, no, he's not. He's on holiday for 2 weeks of it, so he was going to go out for one game, and we were just like, if you're not going to do the whole lot, there's no point, so no. Does anyone talk to each other on here or no, says Made of Stone? Yes, they do. There's lots of people commenting about each other in there, so don't worry. This game's going to extra time, says Aaron Cleesby. Well, that means it's going to be a close game, which I wouldn't argue with. I think France look very focused. Very focused indeed. And that can only be a good thing if you want France to win. Olivier Giroud, World Cup winner. Who'd have thought? Do you think the ref looks like Biff from Back to the Future, says Huge. Yeah, Hugh, sorry. Yeah, he does. Come on, France, says AC Freddy. Yeah, let us know in the live comments where you're watching from, but what team you're going for. So if you're in New Zealand, say New Zealand, Croatia or France. Let us know in the live comments. And please do share. Please do share the video. There's a share button underneath it. Please share it. Get involved. If you're new, please do subscribe. We're going to try and get to 44,000 subscribers today. So that's a personal task for all of you lot to share this link out on your social medias of Twitter and Facebook, and let's see if we can hit 44,000 subscribers, because that would be fantastic to do that on this World Cup final day. Apparently we're about 4 minutes away from kickoff. I'll be stunned if we actually do kick off live at 4 p.m. because it's the World Cup final and these things tend to not be quite live, do they? So let's see what happens. National anthem's coming in, back of the net. So we've got Football Fan who's in Ireland, he wants Croatia. We've got James who is in Kenya, he wants France. Canals in India, he wants France. Le Blues, says Fortune. England and France to win, says Elliot Hobday. Australia for Ben Johnson, he doesn't care. We've got Pogba for Danny King, which is me. I don't really want France to win. I want Pogba to win. Elliot's in England, he wants France to win. Marcelino is in France, he wants France. Jim is in Melbourne, it's 1 a.m. and he wants France to win. And Marcus Barton enjoyed the United Stand video this morning. Good. I'm glad you did. We're going to hit it a little bit more harder on the United Stand now. I think apathy is not going to win. England, and I want Croatia to win, says Change Life. Rory Bacon's in England. He wants France. Jack O'Connor wants France. Tyrone Williams wants France. Can't have Lovren winning it. Liverpool player. Good point. England, France, says AC Freddy. Malaysia, France, says Gantek Yik. And Red Jedi wants France because of Pogba. A lot of people going for France. Not many Croatians going for it, to be honest. Paul says Croatia to win 2-1. Pogba for the win, says Aaron Cunningham. And I think there's a lot of people just going for Pogba, aren't they? Although Alec Dukas wants Croatia to win. And yeah, we're getting very close to kick-off. Very excited. Very excited. So get involved, have your say, and all that jazz. It does come down that to me, though. If I'm totally honest with you, it really does come down to that for me. It's totally about Pogba as to why I want France to win. I'm not a massive fan of France. I wanted Brazil to win in '98. I'll be honest with you. So I don't know why. I've just never really warmed to France. I don't know why, because if you go back far enough in my family, there is French in it. So it's nothing against the French people. I just prefer. I've just never really liked their national team. So, but Pogba makes me like them. If Pogba wasn't on this football pitch, I'd want Croatia to win. So I just hope we get a good game. That's what I want. That's what I really, really want. So yes. Oh God, my mouth really hurts. Okay, I've got a bloody canker sore or whatever it is right there. Bloody, it's been there about a week as well. You can't eat. You can't bloody get rid of them as well. I've been Googling stuff all bloody week. How do you get rid of these sores that you get in the mouth? I basically bit my lip. It turned into a sore. It's been there for a frigging week. I've had salt water, mouthwashers. It just won't. It is healing, but it's taking a long, long time. And you eat anything that's got salt or vinegar or anything spicy, and it really tears your mouth apart. But anyway, enough of that. If you've got any home remedies for a sore, let me know. But we're about to kick off this final. I think France are going to turn up. I can't see any other result, to be honest. But let's see. Let's see how they do. Croatia versus France. Croatia in the red and white. And Perisic just there shaking hands with Mbappe. We are more or less at 4 o'clock. The referee is more or less ready to kick it off. And he does. Game on. World Cup final 2018. France versus Croatia. Let's see how it goes. France pressing early on, but Croatia kicked off. And a big kick forward by the keeper. Elliot Hobday saying, yeah, Pogba's the big reason I want them to win. But they've got a good midfield, Croatia. Rakitic and Brozovic and Modric. Really good three. A lot of it will come down to how much energy there is in those legs of Croatia. Worked very hard to get here, not just against England, but penalties in their previous 2 games. So they've had a very, very, very tiring tournament. But let's see how it goes. France, I've seen every single game for France and every single game for Croatia. And I think throughout this tournament, Croatia probably, Croatia dealt with Argentina far better than France did. And France dealt with them quite well. But they played them off the park. And Croatia did. So be interesting to see how it goes. They've got to get tight to Mbappe. They've got to... But France, as I said before, they've not really hit the high ground of this tournament. They've always just done enough, I think, France. Anytime there's a question been asked of them, they've gone and got the goal and then they've preserved it. I mean, look against Belgium. So it's interesting. It's been a decent, very decent tournament for France. But I just feel we're going to see a performance in France in the final that's going to make us think, you know what, they're worthy winners. George Watts says Mark would be a world-class manager. I think George Watts is drunk because he's already said that Arsenal are better than United. Playing games. Matthew McFadden, people are asking you for your prediction. Bit of a celebrity in the live comments is Matthew and George. Stuart Collins, I'm supporting Croatia purely because of Lovren and I hate Pogba. He's a Liverpool fan. Fair enough, isn't it? Everybody's welcome on here, by the way. Debastian Sugler says, put salt directly on it and stay off the bruise. That's going to kill me, Debastian. If I put salt directly on it, it's going to absolutely rip my mouth out. But I know what you mean. Red Jedi has predicted a Karius moment in this final. Let's see. Stuart Collins says Arsenal are better than United. You know what? You can give United fans some banter, but that's a load of nonsense. Anyway, here's Perisic running into the penalty box. Too many players in front of him. Wasted a bit of an opportunity there. Wins a throw-in. Mandzukic ran into his space there. And that's what Perisic was saying. Get away from me. Take the defender away. He brought them towards Perisic on the break and it all got congested. But they've won a throw-in. Croatia trying to slow the game down a bit, which will play into them. Archie says Croatia are pumped. I'll tell you what, the Croatians will be very proud whatever happens. Of course they'd love to win it, but they will be very proud of what they've achieved anyway, because they won the third place thing in '98, and it was an amazing thing. They were really, really proud of it. Mr. Kenko says, how good is Perisic? I think he's good. I mean, Jose Mourinho loves him, but we'll see how good he is. Can he turn up in a game of this magnitude? Ricky Vic Navrav says, come on, the France. What do I think of Tottenham, says CFC Jake. I like Tottenham. I mean, it's a little bit condescending because I like Tottenham because and I suppose it's because I find them a little bit inoffensive. Nice little ball there. Should keep it in. Cross comes in. Good header away by Varane. And a throw in. And that's what Mandzukic is up against as well. Varane is bloody brilliant. And Umtiti's good in the air. France in their own half here. Go long. Best centre-back in the world wins the header against Giroud. And Vida gives it back to Subotic, who I think's been a fantastic goalkeeper. I think he's the goalkeeper of the tournament, Subotic. I think the double save he made against Harry Kane in the semi-final was world class. Obviously, he's won 2 penalty shootouts as well. Mandzukic does quite well there. Rebic with Kante. My player of the tournament, Kante. Havish says, come on, Croatia. Mudu says, Croatia for the win. Today will be great midfield battle, says Dipro. Go Croatia, says Change Life. We're being bombarded here by Croatian supporters, which is good, because a lot of people were French supporters before the game. Doesn't matter who you support, everybody's welcome on here. Please do subscribe. We're pushing for 44,000 today, so please subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner, and if you're not new, please share the video and let's get as many new people involved as possible. We've done every single game as a World Cup watch-along, and we'll be doing plenty more into the new season, so get involved, please share it. Modric for the golden ball, says Nathan Brown. Jordan Thompson says, this is the best World Cup ever because America aren't in it and I'm American. Zane Scope says, I want Lovren to mess up badly so then we can all bask in the memes that will be created. Yeah, he's not done himself any favours by saying you're one of the best defenders in the world before you've played a World Cup final. But the thing about Lovren is, I always thought Lovren was okay as a centre-back. And then he went to Liverpool and just sort of fell apart a bit. But for Croatia, he does quite well. Sean Fitzgerald, I'm going for Pogba United in this game. It'd be just typical of Manchester United, wouldn't it, actually, if Pogba wins the World Cup and then we sell him. Stuart Collins, I blame Tottenham players for England leaving the World Cup. They're all bottle jobs. I think, to be fair, Raheem Sterling was a joke in that World Cup, and it was John Stones who made the mistake on Mandzukic's goal, wasn't it? So you could say Man City players were as culpable as well. I also felt that Jesse Lingard and Dele Alli, Spurs went missing in both the Sweden game and the Croatia game. I know they got a goal against Sweden, but I thought they were disappeared before that. I think England did very, very well. They overachieved. Now the dust has settled, they overachieved, and they weren't good enough to get to a World Cup final. They just weren't. But hopefully Southgate can build on that, because that World Cup squad, I said it before the World Cup, I'll say it again, wasn't that good. And we got a corner here for Croatia, who've started off quite well. Belgium started off well against France, though, so let's not get too excited. But it's been a good start by Croatia. Strinic getting inside of Mbappe there, whose defensive capabilities are not that good, but he did work back well there. Milinkovic-Savic is being linked to Chelsea now. Sully. Anyway, corner to Croatia. 7 minutes gone. Lloris, no, it was Lovren who heads it clear. Kante. It's a throw in to Croatia. Rakitic. Good header there by Pavard, because Perisic was coming in on that back post. Pogba's been taken out by Rebic. And he took him out proper there, because Pogba was just about to... You felt Pogba was just about to feed it out wide to Mbappe on the break, but Rebic took the foul. Very clever play. Probably get a yellow card if he does that again. George Kyle saying that Matuidi does a lot of underrated work for Croatia as well. Sorry, not for Croatia, for France. Yeah, I think it's. That's one thing about this is one of the big reasons I like doing this sort of thing, because you get loads of real fan opinion from you lot. And if you just listened, and I got fed up with this. I think it was about 4 years ago, probably to the day 4 years ago. I was lying on my Lilo in Mallorca. And I thought, you know what, I really want to do something that's fan-orientated, because I'm fed up of picking up my phone or picking up a paper and reading nonsense I just don't agree with. And I saw something last night on some Twitter account, some big Twitter account. Vote from these four for your player of the tournament. And they had it right with a couple of players, Modric, Mbappe, but Kante wasn't even there. And I thought, that's just the nonsense media that surrounds football, this, speculative media. When, for me, Kante should easily be in the top four. Croatia have started off quite well here. But they've not created a clear-cut chance. But it's a good start by Croatia. France probably just feeling their way into the game. Croatians are on fire, says Suk. They've started off well, Croatia, but maybe they're starting off well because they know if they're going to win this game, they've got to do it early on in the game, because they're going to get really tired. But it's been a very, very good start for Croatia so far. Remember, subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Football channel for everybody, doesn't matter where you live, who you support, everybody's welcome. Get in the debates, just keep it, non-abusive. I think we've got a good mix of people in the live comments today as well, for France and for Croatia. So hopefully we'll see some good bits. I mean, I'll tell you what's been interesting about this World Cup, though. The total disappearance of VAR. I mean, it's just not happened like it did in the group stage. That was a lovely little ball into Perisic. He took it, but he couldn't quite get it down. And I think the dynamics of the stadium are far more Croatian than France as well. Not that that's meant anything in this World Cup. I remember France versus Peru was pretty much like a home game for Peru, and France still won it. Archie says the Croatian midfield is dominating at the moment. They might have to start bypassing the midfield, France, and trying to get Griezmann and Mbappe in the game a little bit more. Good tackle there. I mean, Rebic and Perisic sort of become wing-backs as well, which is really, really good. Max Claydon says barely any penalties in the knockouts as well. I think FIFA, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I think FIFA were like, in the group stage, go to town with VAR, we want to show it working, but in the knockout stage, let's rein it in. We don't want any controversial VAR things ruining the flow of the games. And it's a shame, really. I would rather it had just been consistent all the way through, because VAR just seems to have disappeared in the knockout stage. Ryan Skiberis says, what do you think about Juventus getting Marcelo and Godin to their already fantastic team? I mean, that might just be a case of Ronaldo saying, I'll come, but you need to get these sort of deals done. I think Juventus don't surprise me what they do at the moment. I'd be very surprised if they got Marcelo. France are just passing the ball around at the back at the moment. I'd be very surprised if they got Marcelo because he is still the best left back in the world. Rory Neal says, Croatia are doing to France what England did to Croatia at the start of the game. And this game's going to ebb and flow anyway, isn't it? What we didn't want is an early France goal anyway, because they will just sit back. But if Croatia got a goal, they'd sit back. So, nearly 15 minutes gone. And a very interesting start to the game. Certainly would give it to Croatia on points at the moment, but you just feel that France are feeling their way into the game. But I'd say that possession-wise, it's all Croatia at the moment. Come on. Let's have a goal in it. Nah. I'm enjoying it at the moment. I think it's interesting. I think it's been a good start from Croatia. Perisic has got a lot of space here as he comes into the box. As he got the cross, he was going to have to pull out a dreamer of a cross there. I think he should have gone closer to goal. But there's another throw-in for Croatia. I think Croatia have done fantastically well to get to the final as well, because if you remember on one of the group games, we were talking about Croatia and Serbia, and a lot of us were saying, well, Croatia are better than Serbia because they've got the better midfield. But both teams, their big problem is that they could probably do with a Lukaku or a Harry Kane up front, somebody with a little bit of pace, and they don't have that. Another foul here for Croatia, I think, or is he not giving it? No, I don't think he has. Interesting comment there from Roma, dude. France is letting Croatia get tired, and then France will let them have it. I've got to agree with you on that one. I just feel that France at the moment are just happy to let this game, they've got a very good defence. They can certainly soak up the pressure. And maybe they're just letting Croatia get a little bit confident, and then they're going to look to hit them on the break a little bit, because that will certainly, Croatia, you would expect to get tired at some point. Here is France, though. Their first foray forward with Giroud. Rakitic has done well there. And then Rebic does well. France go back to their own half. Yeah, Croatia just don't have that player on the break to really hurt teams. And I think if you had, let's say, a Lukaku playing for Croatia, or somebody with a little bit of pace where Mandzukic is, then France would be a little bit worried. But here's Mbappe into the box. Good play. Would have been fortuitous to get something from that. Well played. Perisic gets in on Mbappe. Poor pass out. So France having a little bit of a free kick here. Looks a little bit soft. But this is where France can win games. They get free kicks around the edge of the box. They park the bus, they get free kicks around the edge of the box. That wasn't even a foul on Griezmann. And then they use their height. It's how they got scored against Belgium, isn't it? As I said, I think France will win this tournament, but they don't. They never go into fifth gear for all the players that they've got. I mean, Griezmann's waiting for the foul there. He's left his foot there for the foul. But this is a great opportunity for France to curl it in like they did against Belgium, get maybe Varane on the end of it, and Subasic has got problems. And I don't want this to happen. I didn't want this to happen in this game. I don't want France to go 1-0 ahead without playing good football. But they've got a very good opportunity here from doing nothing in this first 20 minutes. See what happens. Griezmann's a snake, says Darth Maul. Decent cross. And that's the goal. Same as Belgium. 1-0 France. Unbelievable, isn't it? 1-0 France. Such a boring team, though. One 0. As soon as they got that opportunity, I thought Griezmann's delivery is going to be really good in here, and it's an own goal actually. Subasic can do nothing about it. We really didn't want that in this final. You really don't want that in a final like this. It's really unfortunate for Croatia because they've been the better team, but this is what France do. I think people get wrapped up in France and say, oh yeah, they've got such good players, but they're very, very workmanlike, very hard to break down, and then they get goals like that. And you can't knock it. They've done it all tournament, but they're not free-flowing at all. But through doing sod all in this game, France are 1-0 up. And as a spectacle, it plays into their hands now because they're basically 1-0 up for doing nothing, and Croatia are going to have to press, and that means they'll get caught on the break, isn't it? So a little bit disappointing. Obviously, I want France to win because of Pogba, but they're a very frustrating team to watch, France, aren't they? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not getting it right. It was an own goal. But no, give us your thoughts below. I just find France very frustrating to watch. They're just so negative. And it comes from the manager, Deschamps. But if they win a World Cup playing this way, what more can you do? You win the World Cup. But they're really, really, really frustrating to watch. Such a great team, but so frustrating to watch. Yeah, I didn't think it was a foul on Griezmann at all. He moved the ball and left his leg. He sort of jumped in the air and took the tackle. It was very clever from Griezmann, but they know, the French team know, if they can get free kicks around that area, he can deliver a cross like that, and it's very, very hard to deal with. Anyway, here's Croatia with a free kick. I'd love them to equalise just to make this game interesting. But they're so good in the air, France. So good in the air. Modric. Over the bar. Vida got up. It's a bit like watching Manchester United just bogged down. It is a little bit. It is a little bit. You're right. They are very workmanlike, France. Very effective, though. Still a long way to go, says KWRFC 1995. It was an own goal, Joe. Mandzukic flicked it in. Great delivery by Griezmann. Roy Keane, simply the best. Is Croatia getting robbed? I mean, if you were Deschamps, you'd be saying, this is brilliant. This is exactly what we wanted to happen. You know, do next to nothing and be 1-0 up. And then Croatia have got to come out and then you're going to get to attack them. So Croatia just got to keep believing. They've played well in this game so far. Got another opportunity to put a ball into the box. And I think he's not going to get anything with that. Lloris punches clear. Well done, Modric. Here's Mandzukic. Cross coming in. Oh, Rakitic. It fell for him, nice. Giroud got fouled by Lovren. VAR, says Mad Max. I think there was a foul on Giroud by Lovren before that, but VAR's disappeared from this tournament. But all in all, if you're joining us a little bit late, I think that France, I wouldn't say they're lucky to be ahead. They're effective to be ahead, but Croatia have been the better team, but that doesn't mean a hell of a lot. I agree with Roy Keane, simply the best. Griezmann did dive for the free kick, but all the top players know how to do that effectively. I think Griezmann's fast becoming public enemy number one, isn't he? I would say some people say Griezmann is better than Hazard. It's like comparing night and day, says Takan. In which way? I think Hazard's way more... I prefer Hazard to Griezmann. Just because he runs at players, and I don't think that's Griezmann's game, is it? Here's a difference between night and day. Sorry, who was it who said it? Let me get the points. Aaron Gorley says, guys, Pogba or Roy Keane. God, it's like comparing a Ferrari and a Skoda. And Keane's the Ferrari. God, Pogba's got a long way to go to be compared to Roy Keane, who was world class. Devil's Ace, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy in Mandzukic, goal of the World Cup. And Croatia have the ball a lot, but they have not created anything, says Bahani. Good point. And Hazard twice the player of Griezmann, says Archie. And Hazard is overrated, says Red Jedi. Maybe Griezmann's overrated. There's a nice little bit of a break here. I think it's got to be a foul, that, as by Kante, and he will get booked. Which could be a good thing for Croatia, that Kante getting booked, because he's such an important player and he does break up the play, and he'll have to be a little bit careful now, because his game's all about breaking up the play. One more missed time tackle puts him in a little bit of bother, so they might have to be careful about that. Man United is my city, says Kante, misses the next game. Yeah, the victory parade. Remember, subscribe if you're new. We're 99 subscribers away from 44,000. It'd be great to achieve that on a World Cup final day, having done every single game as a watch-along. So if you are watching, please hit the share button. It's underneath the video, and if you're on Twitter and Facebook, it's 2 clicks to do it. But free kick here for Croatia. They've had 1 or 2. Pogba, bit of head tennis. Perisic. Get in! Come on, what a goal! Back of the net. Brilliant goal. Absolutely get in there. 1-1. Super goal. Brilliant goal. And I don't know why I'm celebrating it like that, but I'm celebrating for the brilliance of the goal really, and the fact that it makes it a good game. Lovely goal. Game on, and we've got a final. He hit it. It got a slight deflection, but I don't think Lloris is going to save that anyway. But it was good work. He took it down well, and that's Perisic for you in everything. Not many players can do that because he takes it down with his right foot and smashes it home with his left foot. And unless you're two-footed, you can't do that. There is a deflection on it, but lovely, lovely goal that was by Perisic. And I'm just happy because it makes the World Cup final interesting to watch for us all now. I'm fed up of seeing France glide their way through games, grind their way through. They've got so much talent, France. Come out and show us some talents. Croatia have been the better team in this final, no doubt about it. So they deserve to be at least 1-1. But France need to step up, stop diving for bloody free kicks and give us a game of football. Lots of love for Perisic there. It was a lovely goal. Did take a bit of a deflection, but they worked hard for it, Croatia, and they've got what they deserve. 1-1. Makes it a game now, says Nathaniel Hall. Exactly, that's what we want. Quality finish, says Messi Lingard. Didn't take a deflection, says Darth Maul. I think it looked like it did. It definitely either got a lot of swerve on it or it took a deflection, but it was a cracking goal. And at the moment, Croatia will be spurred on by that, and France will want half-time, but we've only had half an hour. And offside here on Mbappe. I thought he was through there. United aren't going to get Perisic anyway. That's just paper talk. So, and you're certainly not going to get Perisic when he's doing things like that in a World Cup final, are you? And a semi-final. Interesting. Well, it makes it an interesting game of football. Remember, subscribe if you're new. Got a few more people watching. Bottom right-hand corner. Get involved in the chat as well. And BKD Limited. I am watching it on the BBC. It's on BBC and ITV in this country, the UK. If Croatia won, can Modric get the Ballon d'Or? It's a long way before that happens. And JC Foster 97 says, amazing goal. Would love him at United. Love you, Mark. Thanks for that. Nice contribution as well. Oh, what are they doing little flicks for there? Kante's got to be really careful. Because he's on a yellow card and Croatia are breaking a lot and they've just got to be careful. Apparently Jokovic has won Wimbledon, says Red Football LJV. Pogba just got nutmegged, says St Columbo. I must admit my eyes have moved away from Pogba in this game. I didn't expect Croatia to come out and give France such a good game of it that I've sort of took my eyes away from Pogba and I'm more watching the game at the moment. But he's not had a good first half an hour, has he, Pogba? Plenty of time. But the midfield of, you know what, Rakitic, Modric, Brozovic, it's no laughing matter, that midfield. It's a proper midfield three. I mean, who's Pogba played as a midfield? Argentina were rubbish. Uruguay's midfield was a bit banter. In the group stage, Denmark and Peru and Australia. Semi-final, Belgium's midfield had Fellaini in it, you know? It's like, this is the first proper midfield that France have faced. Nice little flick there, Mandzukic. I look like Deschamps' younger brother. That's the worst insult I've ever had. Oh, giving a corner away. Croatia here from nothing. Bailey Mark says, what an absolute cracker game on. I'll tell you what, though, this corner for France, I've got the same feeling as that dive that Griezmann got for the free kick. He's just given a corner away for absolutely nothing, which is a good opportunity, isn't it, that France don't deserve. So, and Griezmann will be on it. Cobros Aitken says, Perisic is a perfect example of going for the right player over big name. Better fit for United than Sanchez currently. Hopefully Sanchez comes good. I think Sanchez will have a good season next season. But yeah, this worries me a little bit. I mean, France have done nothing in this game. I don't want them to score from this corner because they've done nothing in the game. But you give soft corners away like Vida did there and it could be absolutely massive. I think Subasic will do his best to just come and get this. Ooh, thought they'd scored. They're going VAR for a penalty. No, I can't see how that's a penalty. No. It's never a penalty that. His hand's coming down naturally. I don't think that's a handball. A lot of people saying it should be a handball. Well, you know, then I'll stand corrected. He's going VAR. I don't think that's a penalty for me, but I think he's going to give it. Very, very harsh penalty that. I think he'll give it. No, don't give that. No, that's a joke. That's an absolute joke. I don't think that's a penalty. His hand's coming down. What's he supposed to do? What's he supposed to do? I can't believe it. France are the luckiest team in this World Cup. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I don't think that's a penalty. I think his hand's coming down. What's he supposed to do? He's jumped up, it's headed down onto his hand and his hand is coming down. I think it's terrible. I think that's a terrible, terrible, terrible decision. The luckiest team in this World Cup are France. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. Undeserving team in the final, winners ever. Oh, Jesus. They're just so lucky. So lucky. Absolutely unlucky. I know a lot of people are saying it is a penalty, but I don't see how. I don't see how it is. I mean, Mijit says definitely a penalty. It's unlucky, but it's a penalty. He says no. No, look, instead of just saying it's a penalty, I've just explained why I don't think it's a penalty. Write a few extra words and tell us how it's a penalty when there's 2 meters between him. His hand's coming down. It's not hand to ball. It just hits his hand. How is that a penalty? I don't see that being a penalty. I'm sorry. It's not deliberate. It's not ball to hand. His hand's coming down. It's not like the one where PK puts his hand up in the air. That was a penalty. But this one, disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. That and they don't. You know, the thing is, even if it is a penalty, what I will say is they don't bloody deserve it. They don't deserve to be 2-1 up. They've done sod all in this game. The ball wasn't... Ernest says the ball was going into the net. There's 2 bloody players on the line. It's not going in the goal. I'm not having that. No way, nowhere near is it going in the goal. Anyway, Griezmann's about to make it 2-1. 2-1 to France. And he does the dance. Fucking idiot. I'll tell you what, I'm finding it hard to just back this for Pogba now because I just do not like France. They're so lucky. They're so lucky. And I think sometimes in football, I mean, Mini Morner says it's a penalty and his arm has stopped the ball going through and has changed the direction, stopping a possible scoring situation. That's my view. I think, to be honest, Mini, there's so much inconsistency about handballs that it's so difficult as a fan to see, to understand the rule. But I just think it's such a harsh decision. He wasn't going to score. They're infuriatingly lucky, France. Infuriatingly lucky. And I think that's just I don't want a final to be won on luck. Croatia are the better team, and France have got 2 goals through doing sod all. I mean, Griezmann cheated for the first free kick, but the referee's VAR'd it. I'm sure he's got a... I'm sure... to be honest, you know, by the letter of the law, he's going to be right, isn't he? There's no way he's going to be wrong, but it's definitely harsh, I feel, in a final where they've done next to nothing. Good chance for Croatia there, though. It's not over. It's not over. Jazzy now says, I'm going for Croatia now. VAR is ruining the game, says Sander. Nice of FIFA to roll out VAR. I mean, it's not even about who wins it, isn't it? I think in the balance of the play, there's just no way that Croatia deserve to be losing this match. And we haven't seen any... I think Des Fef has got a great point there. We haven't seen VAR in the final, in the knockout stages at all. And then in the final, it reappears. You know, there has been incidences in the knockout games where we've gone, oh, we're going to get VAR? No, they play on, they don't review it. And then this one, maybe because it is a final, the ref's like, oh, I can't be the referee who makes a bad decision. Crizia Prince says, I'm not having that. We need a fair winner at the final. Mate, are you telling me it's fair that France are ahead in this game? Griezmann fucking... If we're having VAR for penalties, we should have VAR for free kicks when people dive. Griezmann bloody dived to get that free kick. It wasn't a foul. So how is it fair? Even if you want to have the penalty, okay, fine, the penalty. But the Griezmann thing was a dive. So, and how is it fair that Croatia are losing this game then? Because the first goal for France was cheat. It was a cheated goal. The penalty, technically, okay, I'll give you that, but there's nothing fair about this final at all. And beyond fairness, France are the worst team I've seen potentially win a World Cup. They're absolutely crap. They're just so negative. They do nothing but defend and then, you know, win set pieces. But I did say Vida's at fault because it was a long ball from France and Vida just... Oh, he didn't even need to head it. Heads it out for a corner, and you know straight away, gifting a team that's done sod all in the game, set pieces, they're going to get something from it, and that's where France. They're just very good at. Set pieces. France. Let's be honest. I mean, they've done sod all in this game, but they're winning 2-1. I mean, you've got to give them credit actually. Proper Manx says if France win it, they're their worst winners ever. Corner to Croatia. Mini Mourner, from someone who was against VAR, now like it a tad more. What they need to do is redefine the current rules in a very simple and clear way. Handballs, red cards when you take out the last man, and when and how VAR is meant to be used. Good point. And Matthew McFadden says, if France win by a narrow margin, no matter how the play goes, it'll always be deemed as an unfair win. Not a penalty at all. Ball to hand. I think it's so difficult with the handball rule, though, because we got the one with Portugal, didn't we? Was it Portugal-Iran? I didn't think that was a penalty. But then the PK one, where his hand was up, I thought it definitely was a penalty. With that one, I thought it was very harsh. It's difficult. Somebody's down injured here for France at the moment. I mean, France have been on the ropes, but they're winning 2-1. Corner to Croatia anyway. Right before half time. I'd love Croatia to score and just level it up, but Umtiti's hurt himself here. Stuart McHugh says, I strongly dislike France. You know what I think France's problem is? Griezmann. He's such a little cretin. He really doesn't... You know, what he did with that transfer video just turned a lot of people off him. And then... diving in a final, of course you're going to do it. I mean, he said it himself, didn't he? He said it after the Belgium game, I don't care how we win it as long as we win it. And that's the man for you. But they don't deserve to be winning this game. They've not been anywhere near the best team in this final. I think Vida should have scored there. It's a goal kick to France anyway. Phil Foster says France are not the best team in the world. They may well grind it. If they win it, it just shows you that you can grind your way to a final with negative football. We've got 3 minutes of added time here, probably because of the VAR. Mandzukic is such a weak link, isn't he? No, John Frusciante, we won't be doing that, thanks. I've seen you say that 3 times now. It's not going to happen. How are we going to do typical Mourinho team using Mourinho tactics, says Chris. Funnily enough, I've just tweeted out something very similar, that France are, they are, I mean, an encouraging thing for Manchester United fans, I should say, that France are showing you that you can grind your way out. But then again, could France grind their way to a title over 38 games? I think you can always grind yourself away to a tournament over 7 games, but can you do it over 38? Tough to say. Charles B, I just want a Liverpool player to win a World Cup. Which would be... There's no Liverpool players in the French team, is there? So... Lovren. Peter De Pola says France with 1 shot and 2 goals. Yeah, it's a funny old game, football, isn't it? It's a funny old game, football. It always has been. Perisic does well to keep that in. And that's a foul on Mbappe. So we look at, there is half time. Well, interesting half, very interesting half. I just think Croatia very unlucky. Very unlucky to be going in at half time like that. And I think France lucky, very, very lucky, and just not worthy World Cup winners at all. Their midfield has been absolutely annihilated, but I'm sure by the letter of the rules of the game that is going to be a penalty, isn't it? I'm sure it is technically. That otherwise the referee wouldn't give it. He's got, he's reviewed it enough times. He's got to be right, but it's just, I think in the gravity of the game, it's just so fortuitous, isn't it? It's so fortuitous for France to get into that situation. And just 66% possession to Croatia, 34 to France. 7 shots for Croatia, 1 for France. They've absolutely dominated them, but they're losing a World Cup final. And that's football for you. It's just... But what's infuriating is that if it was the other way round, you'd be like, oh, the underdog are going to win. But it's France, the favourites, playing absolutely shit in another game, but still 2-1 up. They don't deserve the look. They don't need the look. They've got the better players, but they're getting the look as well. And the Griezmann one was a dive. He took the free kick and he got a dive and they scored from it. Jordan Thompson says it was a penalty. Let's be real. It's always going to be about how you see it. And I think we've done enough VAR reviews throughout this World Cup. I know there's a lot of people in the live comments who think because it hits your hand, it's a penalty. So I can't argue with you lot because you think if the ball hits the hand, it's a penalty. And that's your interpretation of it. My interpretation of it is a very, very different interpretation. And the law will be read in many different ways. That's the problem with the handball rule because it can be read in many different ways. Consistently in the Premier League, if it's ball to hand, it's not a penalty. If it's hand to ball, it's a penalty. If the ball travels a long way and your hand's in a ridiculous situation, it's a penalty. But the ball coming down on your hand from 2 yards, from 2 metres, and your hand's moving down and it's not deliberate, that's not a penalty. But this referee will read it however he wants to read it. But for me, the cross comes in, it's headed down very quickly. It's not going in because there's a goalkeeper and there's 2 Croatians on the post. Perisic has jumped, his hand's coming down, it's not going up, it's hit his hand. I don't think that's a penalty, but it is. It's been given, and there we go. Emil says that Griezmann's become an arrogant clown. Douglas James Horns, Croatia have been the better team and are behind to a joke decision. Never a penalty, and it seemed to have took an age to give the penalty to. Yeah, he wasn't certain, was he? He wasn't certain. He watched it many, many times, which, there we go. I think it was just a shame that it was given. I think it was a shame that it went to VAR because I think it was because of the French reaction that he did. So many of them were so insistent that I think he thought, I've got to do something about this here because he didn't seem to. His hand moved towards the ball, says Vongolo. Well, I'm going to watch it back now because they're going to show it and we'll see. But I don't think it does. Hope Croatia get another goal, says Snaps. In my book, if a handball is not deliberate, then it is not a penalty, says Roma Dude. I disagree with you on that though, Roma Dude, because what I would say is that if the hand is in a ridiculous situation, like PK's when he put it up really high, then it should be a penalty because you shouldn't have your hand in a stupid situation, and that wouldn't be deliberate because you don't know whether you're putting your hand to the ball. But so I think there needs to be some clarification on that. Crizia Prince says it's really surprising because Croatia have played really well. I just think France are just not that good, really. They play such a negative way of football. But Perisic's goal was fantastic. I'm sure it did take a little bit of a deflection. I'm just watching it now. But he takes it down so well with his right foot and then smashes it home with his left. Yeah, I think it goes in off Varane's leg a little bit. Yeah, it does, definitely. France are now going to park the bus, says Sean Thompson. Yeah, they've been fortuitous and they can play the way they want to play now, which is just defend and hit teams on the break. Brendan says it's a penalty, no doubt. I'll tell you what, Brendan, I'm not reading another of your comments today, and I won't read any other comment that just says it's definitely a penalty, of which there are a lot of people. You will not get read out, because that is not adding anything to the conversation at all. It's a penalty is just, it doesn't mean anything. Because you've got more than enough words to justify why you think it's a penalty. Otherwise, sit down to the explanation I've just given. And I'm not saying my explanation is right, but what I'm saying is I've given my explanation, and a lot of people have given explanations. You can't just say it's a penalty. You've got to clarify why. I don't think that's a penalty. I don't think it is. I'm watching it here. It comes down onto his hand, which his hand is coming down. It's not ball to hand at all. No. The speed he's watching that at as well. No, not a penalty for me. You've got to remember is a lot of people are watching it in slow motion as well. When you put it into normal speed, you can't put your hand to that. It's not a penalty. I'm never going to change my mind. Hand to ball, says Breach69. How is it hand to ball? Do you know what hand to ball is? Hand to ball is when you put your hand towards the ball. He hasn't done that. He can't do that. It's split. It's not even a second. It can't happen. But I think by the rules of the game, it is a penalty. But there's so much inconsistency about it. The referee will always be covered. I remember us having this same chat about the PK penalty. So there's so much. I'm totally unconvinced. Kyle Briffer, I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. I know, look, I don't need to go to Specsavers, Wayne. Of course the ball hits his bloody hand. We all know it hits his hand. I think we need to move on, don't we? Because I think people are just a little bit thick about like football and the rules. Of course it hits his hand. That doesn't mean it's a penalty. It doesn't mean it's a penalty. You can't be that literal. But there's no point in having the debate, because if people are saying just because it hit his hand, it's a penalty, then it's clearly not. There's so many different reasons why it can and can't be. I don't think it is. Clear and obvious, says Stuart McHugh. That's the problem. Comment of the day by Stuart McHugh. Clear and obvious. It clearly hits his hand, and it's obvious that it hits his hand. But in the Premier League, that wouldn't be given, because we, week in, week out, see that that's not deliberate, that he can't do anything about it, so it doesn't get given. And this happens week in, week out in the Premier League. So that is probably where I'm coming from, and that's probably where a lot of you come from. But all the BBC pundits are saying no as well. It's what's he supposed to do? And they're all ex-players as well. What's he supposed to do with his hand? You can't do anything about it. But it is done. Adam T says it's done though. Montel Jordan's right. A lot of people going that it's saying about Pogba, but Pogba is not the only one. Matuidi's not been great. Kante is on a yellow card. I think what's happened is that the midfield of Rakitic and Modric and Brozovic have dominated that midfield, haven't they? And that is that's the key point. SKN says it was a penalty. The hand was not in a natural position and the reaction was like he slapped it up. If you hadn't done it deliberately, the hand wouldn't have moved that much, and also he didn't complain. I think he's watching a different football match. I don't know what it is, but Croatia are in red and white and France are in blue. There was loads of people complaining, and if you think that you can deliberately touch a ball when it's moving that quick and move your hand towards it, I don't know what penalty you're watching, mate, to be honest. Abbas Yunus, don't ever speak to me like that. You're gone. And this is not the Premier League, says Wayne Jackson. And it was unlucky, though. If he moved his hands somewhere else, no penalty. He says, how's he supposed to move his hands? I keep saying this. He's jumped and his hand, in the space of the ball moving, has gone from there to there. He's moving his hand down by his side, which is natural when you've played football, whether you've jumped and then you're down. He can't move his hand out the way. It's frigging lucky for France that ball, where they've headed it, has hit Perisic's hand. The hand hasn't gone to the ball. Matuidi's headed the ball at his hand. That's what's happened. It's hit his hand. Andrew Ellis, Roy Keane on ITV says it's disgraceful. All the BBC pundits said it's disgraceful. They're all ex-footballers. They've all played the game. They all know far more than I do, and I don't think it's a penalty. Minnie Mourner says, to me, his movement of his arm speeds up to get in the way. Look at the vids. His other arm hardly moves. However, it's not clear and obvious, so should not have gone to VAR in the first place. Good point. Mislav says, unlucky, Croatia are killing France. I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? It's the injustice that we're playing a World Cup final and we're having that conversation in the first place about whether it's a penalty or not. And if you're pro it's a penalty and you're pro it's France, well done to you. You're winning 2-1. That's my goal of the tournament, Ronaldo's free kick. But a lot of my frustration at it is that France don't deserve to be winning this final and Croatia are the better team. That's what I'm more worried about. That's what I'm more bothered about, because it's the World Cup final, for God's sake. And we're going to have it decided at the moment by a team winning it who doesn't deserve to win it. But hopefully in the second half we'll see some justice done. Man United is my seat. He says, if your hand goes to the ball, it's a penalty, and the ball went to his hand, so it's not a penalty. His hand wasn't exactly in the way of the player's head or foot about to shoot at all. It was in front of his own keeper picking it up. No penalty. This should not be happening, says Kobe. How do the French feel about Africa winning, says Jose Mourinho. Disgusting. Griezmann celebrating arrogantly, going to start wasting time now. And they are winning. It's a game of football, says Chinese Bull. Exactly. Croatia need to come out in the second half. And if they play like they did in the first half, hopefully they'll get back into it anyway. Clattenburg said no penalty, says Phil Foster. Pogba even on the pitch, says Patrick Curran. France's better team, they're winning here. Predrick, you can be blocked for that. There's just no point. I'm not really blocking it. It was a joke. But it's a stupid comment, isn't it? Steve Shalholm says, well, I mean, I know people are saying, oh, it's not nice to call somebody stupid in the comments, but come on. I think anybody who's got eyes can see that France are not the better team in this game. It's a bit like saying Arsenal are going to win the league. It's a stupid comment. Steve Shalom says, when you're coming down from a jump, your hands come down. It's simple body mechanics, plus the ball deflects down from 2 feet away. So, intentional. I don't know whether he's saying it's intentional or not, but thanks for the contribution. Goal of the tournament says it's Bookie. Get in the live comments and let us know. Goal of the tournament for me is definitely Ronaldo's free kick. I've been consistent with that. It was my first favourite goal of the tournament. I've not seen one better throughout it. So, yeah, I would definitely stick with that. Yeah. Although they're just going through a few at the moment, but for me, I just don't think it was... a penalty. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to get to 44,144 would be fantastic. 44,000 subscribers today would be fantastic. We're only, how's your math? 73 away. So click the link in the video, click the button in the right hand corner and subscribe to the channel if you are new. This is the channel for everybody. As we've just been discussing for the last 5 minutes. Proper debates on here. Doesn't really matter what country you're from, who you support. We do lots of games, we do lots of chats, and everybody's opinion is welcome. Charisma, unless you think it was a penalty, of course. No, I actually haven't seen anybody make a comment. I've read a few out, but I haven't seen anybody make a comment that's convinced me yet. I know for a fact that the FIFA definition of handball, they're covered. They'll be covered because it is so interpretational. It is so blasé. You can be really strict with it, or you can be really narrow with it, and not narrow, you can be really wide with it. So they're covered, but the inconsistency is the problem. Aditya says it was a penalty. You don't need to do that in the 18-yard box. I'd challenge you, Aditya, that you've never played football in your life, certainly not at a high level. He cannot move his hand out of the way. It's ridiculous. People are watching that on slow-mo. And Mandzukic, I think, is just saying to the referee there that is never a penalty in a million years. And he'll get backed by FIFA, of course he will. But it's a shame that things like that happen to the team that deserves to win. And, is the underdog. That's the last thing that you want to happen. But maybe that can spur them on. They certainly came from behind against England. We might be seeing, if Croatia can get a goal, we might be seeing a little bit of extra time again. Croatia certainly know it. It's their friend. Anyway, come on, ref. Let's get it kicked off. Second half. I'm sure that France are going to try and slow this down and hit them on the break. I think the third goal would probably finish it off, wouldn't it? Here we go. We're off. Okay, and timer is working. Cool. Okay, we're up and going. Red Jedi says Croatia have got time to fix this, and I'm sure they will. Well, injustice can work one of two ways, can't it? It can be an inspiration, and it can be something that makes you lose your head a little bit. But what I think we will see from France is... Ashley Kramer says the ref has a French background. I'm sure that's not the case. Chrisia Prince, what did Roy Keane say? I haven't even got that on, and I don't have the audio on either, so... Apparently Argentina have sacked their manager. I think we could all see that coming. Giroud into the box. Griezmann shoots straight at Subasic. See, this is the thing for France now. Croatia are going to have to push forward, and it gives them that opportunity. That's what a fortuitous goal does as well. It changes the dynamics of the game, because Croatia are going to have to chase the game, which could leave them a little bit older. Dave B says, Mark, people saying it was a penalty have never played football, but you don't always get what you deserve in football. Very good comment as well. Chrisia Prince, World Cup final should not be about the ref. He ruined the game. Yeah, if Roy Keane said that, he's spot on. And Lynn Hall saying that Roy Keane was not happy about the penalty decision. Just heard the end of what he said it was ridiculous. Good save by Lloris. Corner. Good shot by Rebic. Would have been a cracking goal if he'd caught him out. It was going over anyway. Lloris just made sure. Anyway, Modric with the corner. France. Goal kick. Jordan Thompson says, if that was England, you'd say it was a penalty. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. But that's not an argument, is it, Jordan? That's just like, that's not. There's no logic when it happens to your team, is there? You just want your team to win. If you're French, you're always going to believe it's a penalty. The reality is a lot of us aren't French. A lot of us aren't Croatian. We're just watching a cup final. So we're looking at it completely, not neutral, but, looking at it fairly, I would say. And I'd say 80% of people are saying it's not a penalty. And not just, fans, but a lot of people are saying it's not a penalty. So, but if it was my club, of course, yeah. Of course I would, because you're blinded by you're literally wearing the red tinted glasses, aren't you? Poor pass by Pogba there, or no, probably Mbappe's a little bit slow. Oh, mistake by Varane. Mandzukic heading towards the box here. Can we see the apps as Hannibal Wolf? I don't have my phone with me at the moment, mate, so I can't get it up and running, unfortunately. But Croatia again dictating the play. Varane's such an opera defender, says Rath. And that'll be a corner. Yeah. They need to tell you what though, Croatia are getting a lot of corners, they're getting a lot of set pieces. They do need to do something a little bit more about it. The timer's up and running. It's Busky. I think you need to go to Specsavers. It's running fine. Croatia needs to improve final ball, says Callum Christie. Yes, they do. They're getting a lot of opportunities in this game, and I think they've been a bit wasteful. Pogba looks nervous, says Proper Mank. Yeah, he has. I'm a fan. I'm probably just going to tweet something out about that. Varane's been awful, says Ernest. I just think the system of France is so well set up defensively. I mean, they just get everybody behind the ball, and they're going to do that obviously a lot more now because they've got, you know, if they keep it like this, they win, don't they? Would you take Rakitic at United? I think most teams in the Premier League would take Rakitic, wouldn't they? He's such a good player. But France just parking the bus now. It's going to be very, very tough for Croatia to break them down. And then you hit them on the break. That's how you do it. Nice Modric. Bit of space here for Mandzukic. Final ball again, letting them down. But this is where Pogba a little bit of time and space. Lovely little ball into Mbappe that time. Vida, don't touch him. Lovely play, saved by Subasic. Good pass by Pogba though. Got Mbappe away. That, you know, that's what France can do on the break. Oh God, we've got somebody on the pitch here. A few people on the pitch. Don't know what they're doing. Good save by Subasic, that. So we've had a bit of a pitch invasion there from 2 or 3 people in... It must be political because they've got some sort of silly suit on. Putin won't be happy. Probably never see them again. 8k, thanks for the contribution. And... It's Villains TV again, says Wan White. Never heard of them. Croatia needs to be a little bit careful here because they're giving the ball away a lot, and it's just exactly what France want. They want to get caught there. They want to have opportunities to hit on the break. Corner given, or has he got a goal kick? We've got a substitution here for France, and that's it's Nzonzi. Sorry, it's Kante coming off. Who I think on the yellow card is probably too much of a risk, isn't he? So they're really parking the bus now with 35 minutes to go. They're going for a little bit of height as well. Wira says France are not playing to win; they're planning to win. I don't think Kante's been that good either. No, you're right. I don't think Kante's been good. I don't think Pogba's been good. I don't think Matuidi's been good. But what they have got now is a height advantage in the midfield. I mean, Nzonzi against Modric there. I'm sure Griezmann just handballed that. Kante been boss this game, says Kate. Devil's Ace not impressed with Nzonzi coming on. I'm not surprised. It's a bit like Mourinho. He'd probably bring Fellaini on, wouldn't he? It's Mbappe trying to use his skills there. But Croatia are the team on the ball, as they have been for much of this game. It's just whether they can sort out their final ball into the box, because that's where they've struggled. Here's Modric. Nice little slip-in pass there. Rebic. Well done, Vida. Griezmann escaping. Barry Iris West Allen says the whole French team hasn't been good. Nzonzi and Pogba, that's basically Pogba and Matic in the midfield, says Sean Fitzgerald. I think France have got to win this 2-1 at the moment, haven't they? I think if this comes back 2-2, they're in trouble. They're so not in this game that they need to win it basically in this scoreline, because they've just been so outplayed, really. Kante was on a yellow, Albert Einstein's right, so I think they were a little bit worried about that, because obviously Kante is the player that, you know, breaks the tackles up, and if he's on a yellow card, it takes away a big part of his game, doesn't it? So I can sort of see why they took him off. And Nzonzi gives them that height advantage. I mean, Croatia are going to have to go for it at some point, aren't they? There's a free kick on Rakitic by Giroud. Stuart Collins says Pogba's crap. How's the Golden Boot race going? It's done, isn't it, Douglas? It's been done for a long time. It's going to be Harry Kane. Cross into the box. Keeper gets that. Bogdan says Croatia's too slow in the attack. Proper Manx hoping for an equaliser. I'd love there to be an equaliser, because I just don't think that the final should be won by that. I mean, that would be absolutely horrible for that penalty to win it, regardless of whether you think it's a penalty or not. It would be really, really hard to, you know, justify. But here's Perisic up against Pavard. Nice cross over Mandzukic. Being Ricky with a very good question. What have France done? Subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We're trying to get up to 44,000 today, which would be fantastic to do that on a World Cup final day. Jim says that Martial would have been handy. I can see why Martial's not part of this French team, because it's a bit like Jose Mourinho in charge, isn't it? What a ball that is. What a ball that is. I think it was on Zenze, hit it. Mbappe up against Stranic. Griezmann. Pogba. Goal! Pogba scores. That's probably going to win it. Lucky again, but there you go. Pogba. Well, all I can say is at least that is not going to be the winner. I'm sorry, at least that penalty is not going to be the winner. A little bit lucky again, but that was always the problem. It was the ball out to Mbappe that just absolutely causes them problem. It's the long ball out to Mbappe. It stretches them. Yeah, they're a little bit lucky. But at least it's not the goal that it's not going to be the penalty that wins it. And he got 2 bites of the cherry, Pogba. I was watching it back here. I mean, Mbappe gets the cross in. Griezmann lays it off nicely. 1 shot blocked. And then, there's nothing really. I can't really say there was anything lucky about that. It's a good goal from France. And I'm just glad that it's not the penalty. Although, I must say, I think 3-1 absolutely flatters Croatia. France. But you can't argue with that goal. Keeper should do better, says Rory Neal. I think he's wrong. I think he's just wrong-footed, isn't he? I think he's wrong-footed. Man United is my city, says I can't celebrate. Oh, there's still plenty of time left in it. I mean, I'm just happy that goal's gone in and it's not the penalty that's going to be the decider, because that would have been the injustice. I mean, the penalty does change the game. Let's not be argue about it. What a bit of defending there. Whoever that was, Brozovic. It's just about to drop to Griezmann on the back post. I think Croatia are a little bit on the ropes here with half an hour to go. Who was it for France who paid that pass out to Mbappe? You know, the one that made the move, really? Because that pass was superb. Was that Pogba or was that Nzonzi? I thought it was Nzonzi. But the pass was made it. Absolutely amazing. I know, Croatia have managed to deal with a corner here from France. That's a cracking comment from Chris Thompson. Pogba's so much better when he has got players running in behind. In fact, I'm going to take some notice about that for tonight's show, because and I'll shout you out for that, Chris. Chris Thompson. It was Pogba with the pass. Yeah, well, that's just world class. That really is world class. I didn't see who played the pass because it was so long and so quick that the play had gone. But Dave Waters says as well, Jose, take note how to play Pogba. That was superb from Pogba, says Lafiel Bangs. Croatia have stagnated, says Isaiah. I mean, look, let's be honest. You can't knock Paul Pogba, because that goal that he scored could be the winner in the World Cup final, and the pass that he made created it. It's fantastic. And this is the best midfield they've played. This is probably one of the best midfields in the tournament. I keep calling him Matic. Modric, Rakitic and Brozovic. It's a superb midfield, and they've probably been the better midfield in this game. I think Croatia's problem's always that their number 9 is just not mobile. And obviously Giroud's not mobile, but he's got Mbappe next to him, who's ridiculously mobile. So it's been a tough game for Pogba. I don't think he'll feel it's been a tough game, but if he wins it, which is looking likely. But, you know, games aren't won by the better teams, are they? They're not all the time. They're not won by the better team. So, but you can't argue with that goal. You know, games can be about moments as well. I often say this about Fellaini. If you watch him along 90 minutes, he's not a great player. But he'll have a moment where he maybe gets a goal. Leffy Bang says that was superb from Pogba. Oh, I've read that comment. The comments are frozen. The comments are frozen, so they had. Shane Green says Manchester United should sign that Pogba guy. Definitely agree with you. Oh, God. Another goal. That's poor by the goalkeeper. 4-1. Mbappe. Croatia have just fell apart. It's such a shame. It's such a shame. I mean, they're going to deserve it now, but it's such a shame, that is. Their goalkeeper's having a bloody nightmare. What is he doing? And from being dominated in the first half, you cannot argue with what's happening in the second half. It's just annihilation. Let's watch this back. I don't know how this goes in, really. It comes to Mbappe. He's about 30 yards out. The keeper's got to do better there. Keeper's got to do better there. He hits it well, Mbappe. But keeper's got to do better. He hits it very well, but I think the keeper's got to do better for me. You could argue he should have done better on both goals. But they're running out of gas as NVS. That was always the danger, wasn't it? They didn't deserve to be down at half-time, but in the second half, France are just running away with this. And you can't argue with that. You can't argue with that at all. The dream is dying for Croatia. It's probably already dead. Will we see 5? Says, I can't say that. Great comment there from Electric Mars. The keeper keeps setting himself way too early. And if you're not sure about goalkeeping, I used to get coached in goalkeeping, although I hated playing in there. Setting yourself is, like when you set yourself, like you're ready for the shot. And he is setting himself way too early with that shot there. He set himself and then the shot happens and he's already set himself. He can't then adjust. And it's surprising because he's lost it, hasn't he? I was saying before this game that Subasic is arguably the goalkeeper of the tournament. I think he's just lost it today. Martial could have been a World Cup winner, says Camilio 10. You know what? I think it's a shame that France are going to win the World Cup in the context of the World Cup because I don't think they're like the best team in the world, but they are going to be the best team in the world. I think if they get in front, they're hard to beat. And they get in front through quite irritating ways, I suppose. I mean, now the freedom's there that, Pogba looks world class now. Griezmann looks world class. When it was 2-1, they were out of the game a little bit. But when they get ahead, they become a very, very good team, which is the sign of a good team. But there's just something about France that I just find very irritating, the way they play. And I think that's because of Deschamps and the way he sets them up quite negatively. But I think he came into this tournament thinking, there's no great team in this tournament. We probably can grind our way through. But it's unfortunate. I don't think Croatia deserved this. But it's going to happen. Uday, I'm sorry, but you won't be making any more comments on this channel. Not having that at all. Everybody's welcome on here and all opinions are welcome on here. But what's not welcome on here is rude and abusive comments. Absolutely no need for it. Oh, I've just missed the second goal trying to deal with Uday. So what's happened here? Look, there's the Karius moment. Lloris trying to skip past his... is it Mandzukic? And it's 4-2 with 20 minutes to go. So... Lloris. Lloris... Well, maybe we have got a game on second half. Oh, God, 4-2. Still going to be a hell of a fight back for Croatia, but I missed that. Didn't expect it either. So, can Croatia get another one here? 20 minutes to go, 4-2 down. Bit of a plonker, wasn't he? Comment there from Big Boss Fredo. Overall, Mark, fact is France beat quality teams. Look, you can't argue with the World Cup winners. I'm not saying that. The best team who wins the World Cup is the best team. There's no way of fluking it. But what I'm saying is I just don't think we've had a real standout good team in this World Cup. And I said it before as well. And I think that's meant it's been quite a good World Cup in relation to... we've had a lot of shocks. We've had a lot of close games. But we've not had the dominant force, have we? We've not had the dominant team. Germany in World Cup in the last World Cup. And I don't look at this French team as being a great World Cup winning team. But Italy won it in 2006, and I felt exactly the same. Tournaments take on their own, and eras take on their own bit, don't they? Is what I'm trying to say. Boring finals to Selwyn Greenwich. I think it's been an interesting final for from a. Rebic has just come off for Kramerich there. It's been an interesting final from a point of view of the incidents we've had in the game. But I think France will score again. I've got an injury here and it's not. He's blowing it up. Colin Smithable says, who wants a dominant team in the World Cup? I'll tell you what I like. I like it when you've got 3 or 4 really good teams in a World Cup. As I said, France 98, you had Brazil and France who were very, very good. Holland were good. Argentina were good. There were some really good teams in that World Cup. And I think that's what we haven't had this year. But in some ways, it was nearly, very nearly, the World Cup of the underdog, wasn't it? Mandzukic and Umtiti colliding heads there. That looks nasty. I don't think Croatia will get back into this, but at least they have made the last few minutes of it interesting. Tolisso is going to come on now. Matuidi's going to come off. So Tolisso was playing a few games when Matuidi... Well, he played that game that Matuidi missed out on, didn't he? Actually, to be precise with you. Oh, we've had a contribution. Sorry. It's from Jay Coutus. Pogba's turned up in a tournament when all of the best, bar Ronaldo, have hid. Exactly. Good point. I'll use that for later as well. Standout player of the tournaments is Big Boss Fredo. He's mentioned Mbappe, he's mentioned Perisic. I mean, Mbappe is a very exciting player. I would just say to you lot, do you think he's ready for Real Madrid yet? I don't think he's ready for Real Madrid yet. I think those boots to fill of Ronaldo's are too big. Matthew McFadden says, Pogba and Mbappe scoring has won me a cheeky 20 quid, but no amount of money will compare to Graham Souness hopefully trying to bash Pogba today. Souness doesn't do anything though, does he? He doesn't do any of the Sky or anything like that. 15 minutes left. Probably about 20 actually. We've had a few injuries. It's Croatia though. I'd tell you, it'd be great if Croatia just got a goal. Here's Perisic. Cross coming in. Lloris didn't come for it. Varane did. Oh. You know what? I think it's going to be great to see Paul Pogba win it as a Manchester United fan, but I tell you what, I'd love to see another goal, just to make it exciting. Last 10 minutes. Can they do it? Speculative long shot there from Vasalko. Little bit selfish. Little bit selfish there. So. Can it be done? Will it be done? Are France home and hosed and dry? I think they probably are. So what people are saying in the live comments. Where are you all? There we go. Anya's just turned on and is late. Croatia gave up at 3, says Man United is my city. I tell you what, it's a shame, isn't it, from Subasic, because I think there was points in this game where that if that goalkeeper had just, you know, maybe the Pogba one he gets wrong-footed, but the Mbappe one, it just shows you one goal can make a big difference. You're back in it, and they're fighting now from 2, so. Yeah, Lovren, world class, going to miss out again, isn't he? Modric, his 11th final, he's won 10, hasn't he? So that's a biggie. Good cross coming in. Ooh, Varane did well there. Took it down. Ref, get out the bloody way. Why is the ref getting in the way there? Come on, ref. Have a word with yourself. "13 minutes. There's still time in this game. There's still time in this game. But do they believe? Do they believe that they can do it? And France are so good defensively as well. I think Prince, Croatia's ball control is fantastic. I mean, they absolutely did for England, didn't it? And I think it's sort of done for France in many ways, but France's attacking play, that's got to be a handball by Mbappe. How did he not? How is that not a handball? Maybe he didn't handball it. That's maybe it's not a handball because he didn't handball it. So That's all I can think of. It's logical. Remember to subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We're trying to get up to 44,000 subscribers today on this World Cup final day. Remember, we will be doing a lot of content throughout the next few weeks for transfer reactions. So whether you support a club or not, certainly keep your eye on That's Football, because we'll react when there is transfer news. And then into the next season, we'll be doing watch-alongs for a lot of games. So get involved. Well, no matter where you live or who you support, you're more than welcome to join the debate. And we had a fantastic debate about the penalty, didn't we? But Croatia, if they're going to do anything, they need to get something in the next couple of minutes, because not with quality like that, I'm afraid. Giroud's coming off. I wonder if they're going to bring a defender on. I'm surprised they're taking Giroud off, actually, because he's a decent option, isn't he? Fekir, soon to probably be at Liverpool, you would have thought, as soon as this World Cup gets out of the way. I mean, the transfer business is going to go up through the roof, isn't it now? Let's be honest. So we're about 10 minutes away from France winning their second star, their first World Cup away from France, which they won in '98, which was an amazing World Cup, my favourite World Cup. But I don't think anybody can argue with what they've done in this second half. I think you can argue about the first half. I think you can argue about the justice of the first half, maybe, and that Croatia were the better team. But as many people have said in the live comments, football is a game of... it's not always about who deserves to win, is it? It's not always about that. So Barry has just subscribed to the channel. Thank you. You're very welcome. Pogba World Cup winner. Get in, says Muller91. It's looking that way. It's looking that way. There's still a little bit of time. Only 40 subscribers short from 44,000 as well. So remember, please do share it if you are involved and subscribe. 10 minutes to go in this. Good tackle by Pogba there, but still going to be an opportunity for Croatia to put another ball into the box. Don't know what's happened here. Rakitic not happy, playing to the whistle. I think they've just about had enough of this referee, to be honest. It's difficult. It's difficult for them. I feel a little bit sorry for Croatia. I think they're such a small nation that it is difficult for them to accept and deal with. But that's how football goes, and you know, France have got a fantastic squad. I still think they've got a rubbish manager, but so fair play for what they've achieved and there. Pogba won't be injured. He's just play acting, says Abinab, which I do agree with. I think he probably is. I don't feel sorry for Lovren, no. I mean, I do like people like Modric and that. He's a cracking player, so he is. I haven't picked my phone up for the whole of this game. Have a look through the messages. Nothing too bad. A lot of support for Pogba, which is good to see. Being as most people I know are Manchester United fans. I think Croatia's goal was fortuitous, wasn't it? So I don't think they've just struggled to create chances throughout this game. Perisic's goal was sort of individually brilliant, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I bet the Liverpool fans are really happy. I mean, that was one of the things as well that was a big advantage for me. To want France to win it simply for Paul Pogba was always a nice thing, because I know it will irritate them a lot. But in all honesty, I ain't got anything against Croatia. I think it was just one of those things, wasn't it? And but from a totally selfish point of view, it's great for Paul Pogba to win it and to score as well is the big thing in this game. You know, to not be the performance that angers people or anything like that, to be the performance of a player, you know, that didn't disappear. I think, to be honest with you, I think somebody like a Kante didn't have a good game, got subbed off very early, didn't he? And I thought, you know, Kante for me had been the player of the tournament for France, but in the final, no, he goes missing. And in the final is where you've got to win it. And at 2-1, Croatia were going to push and push and push. And that pass comes from Paul Pogba, and that pass is the difference in the game. So that is massive, isn't it? Absolutely massive. And to produce in a final, I think, you know, I'm going to go live on the United Stand straight after this, actually. I'm setting up a stream at the moment. So, and I will be doing that. And I will be talking about Paul Pogba, because from a Manchester United point of view, obviously it's personal to us Manchester United fans. But when you've got a World Cup winner there, if it was Jesse Lingard or Phil Jones, we'd all be absolutely ecstatic. Well, we've got Paul Pogba now, World Cup winner. So that is huge, absolutely huge. And something we should all be very proud of at Manchester United. I want to talk about that and what it means for his future at Manchester United, because it's really, really important for us. But, you know, superb. And he has had a very good tournament. I don't think anybody can deny that. Speculative shot from Croatia there. The time is gone. It's gone for Croatia now, and I think we can all accept that. It's been a great ride for them. They've done absolutely fantastic to get this far, but it's going to end here, and France will be the World Cup winners, which many people probably would have predicted right at the start that was realistic. But and part of me does think, well, you know what? I'd love this World Cup to have been won by somebody else. I'd love it to have been won by not by somebody else. That's unfair. But I'd love it to have been won by somebody who isn't, who hasn't won it before. But I'd rather France win it than a Spain or a Brazil who've won it many, many times before. So I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. But let's see how many minutes this referee wants to add on. There will be, well, he's not told us yet. I think there's going to be 4 minutes added on. 4 minutes till we get the World Cup winner. 5 minutes added on. I mean, not that it matters. So it's been an absolute pleasure doing this World Cup. It really has. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you all have as well. And remember, we will be doing more and more watch-alongs throughout the next season. We're going to be doing transfer shows. I'm back at midday tomorrow. But the World Cup's drawing to an end. It's sad. It's sad that it's drawing to an end in a way. And I think in relation to France, to me, it never really felt like it got going. I just always felt that they were in third gear, but there was no team really to push them, was there? And that's something that everybody else is going to have to look at. They were European finalists in the last tournament. Winners in this tournament. You can't knock it. You can't knock it. France World Cup champions. Thank you, Mark, for sacrificing your time to do these watch-alongs. Look, I would have watched every single World Cup game anyway, so thank you to every one of you lot who've joined us for all these watch-alongs. It's been fantastic and really, really enjoyed it. I think it's been a good World Cup. I'll stick by what I said at the start. It's not been my best World Cup. It's probably been my second or third. I think 98 was better. There was better games. There were better teams. There were more goals. The knockout stage was better. But this has been a good World Cup. And I think international football, the good thing about this World Cup is I think it's made international football relevant and interesting to people again, which for me is a big positive personally, because I was losing interest in it. So that's been really, 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 really important. But yeah, really, really have enjoyed it. And we're going to do lots of stuff on That's Football as well. I mean, we were sort of working towards this World Cup and trying to build a channel where fans of all people can get involved. Pogba should have scored again there. Could have had 2. Could have finished it off. What a miss. But yeah, so we're going to be doing the transfer stuff as normal. We're going to do watch-alongs next season. Premier League, Champions League, bit of Serie A, bit of La Liga. So loads to get involved with. And every single one of you, no matter where you're from, who you support, is welcome. So keep getting involved with the channel. I don't want this community to disappear just because the World Cup's going to disappear. So thanks, everybody. We've not quite hit 44,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Link just in the bottom right-hand corner. And I'm going to be live on the United Stand in a moment. If you're a Manchester United fan, I think you're going to quite enjoy the video I'm about to do. I've just been prepping it for the last few minutes because this game's been over for a while. So I'm going to go and talk about Paul Pogba, which I'm probably just going to let loose a little bit, really, because I've always been a fan of his. And I think this is something where you can't really hate on him anymore. Because World Cup winner is a massive, massive thing, isn't it? From Croatia's point of view, I just want to say that was probably a penalty if the other one was there on Vida. But from Croatia's point of view, I just want to say that I feel very sorry for them. But part of me is quite, I wonder what England would have happened to England in a final of this magnitude. Man of the match. I'm tempted to give it to a Croatian because I think France were very poor for an hour. And they had a couple of decisions go their way, but in the last half an hour, you probably would say Pogba. So I think probably Pogba because they win the World Cup. Yeah, but I'll be talking more about Pogba in a moment on the United stand because it's a fantastic achievement. Douglas James Horn says, to Mark and Xander, thank you so much for all the watch-alongs. I've loved every minute of it. I love the channel as well. Cheers to you both. Well, thanks, Douglas. That's really appreciated. And I thank all of you lot for getting involved. I really, really enjoyed it. Of course, you can always find me on the United stand if you want to see me talking about Manchester United. The Skype show will be tomorrow, Matthew, at 8 o'clock. I'm not doing a Skype show tonight because I'm going to do it off my phone. And then I've got Sophie and Flex on tonight at 8 o'clock. So Skype show tomorrow night. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a 4-2 game. Croatia were a lot closer. France were pushed close. But it's a fantastic achievement for them to win a World Cup, and you can't knock it. You can't take it away from them. They have deserved it, and they are the World Cup champions. And the referee should blow it there. Which he will, and he has. So there you go. France, World Cup winners. The story is over. France 2018 World Cup winners. I'm not happy that Griezmann's holding it up. I can't stick him. But from a Paul Pogba point of view, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go over onto the United stand now and do our video on Paul Pogba. I'll see you on there. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'm back on here tomorrow at midday as well. See you all soon.